There's a really cute but very slightly rude emu bird named Emmanuel. He's become a celebrity online after constantly interrupting his owner's videos. Let's watch.
This is Emmanuel, do not do it. Emmanuel, don't do it. Emmanuel, don't do it. I'm trying to educate people right now, okay? Can you just stop? 3 inches tall. Emmanuel, every time. Emmanuel, don't do it. Emmanuel, don't do it. Emmanuel, don't do it. Emmanuel, don't choose violence today. Please, every day we go through this. Gosh, it's never ending. Our black swan, actually, that may be him right over there. Emmanuel, don't do it. Emmanuel, you know what? Do it.
The whole time I'm watching this video, I'm thinking that Emmanuel reminds me a lot of like Joe Manchin ruining legislation every time we get close to getting something done. So that's Taylor Blake. She's a TikToker and animal enthusiast. She makes informational videos about different creatures. She likes to spread important knowledge about different species, and she's made several TikToks about Emmanuel Todd Lopez. It's a 5'8" emu bird who's gone viral just for interrupting his mother. She lives on a farm with cows, with donkeys, and another emu named Ellen, in which Emmanuel apparently has some beef with. And in order to address the controversy, the Washington Post reached out to Emmanuel in an interview, but he denied to comment. Let's watch.
Hey, the Washington Post is on the phone. Excuse me, sir. The Washington Post is on the phone. They would like you to make a comment. The Washington Post would like you to make a comment. Manuel, can you make a comment? Manuel, you're embarrassing me. This is a really big deal. Come on. Is there anything you'd like to say? Is there anything that you would like to say?
Hi, Emmanuel.
Maybe. Oh, did you hear that? I'm gonna say thank you for the love. Huh? Want a little kiss?
You know, I know we said we're gonna talk about fun stuff and I don't wanna make this sad, but again, Joe Manchin has nothing to say to defend themselves to the press whenever they're interrogated by the press. But Taylor Blake, Emmanuel's owner, said of that interaction with the Washington Post that Emmanuel's just kind of a down-to-earth guy. I don't really think he cares about being famous. And in all fairness to Emmanuel, some other animals on the farm have taken after his rude behavior by continuing the trend. Let's watch that.
Princess is about to come into the frame again. I can't catch a break today, guys. I've been trying to film this forever. Ellen? What? Ellen? No. Regina. Regina.
Yeah, that's Kirsten Sinema taking over, following in Manchin's footsteps. I'm sorry that I keep making this about politics. I really can't help but carry on with that analogy. Cenk, what do you think of Emmanuel?
Well, the problem is that the country likes Emmanuel, which is very different than what the country thinks of Joe Manchin. Okay, so look, it's a feel-good story, and I like that Emmanuel largely listens to her. And anyone who's ever been a kid, you feel Emmanuel's situation, right? You really want to touch that thing or poke it or whatever it is, right? And they're telling you, Emmanuel, don't do it. Don't do it, Emmanuel. Don't do it. And then so in the final video where we showed the very end of it, where she's like, oh, just do it. Emmanuel's like, yes, bam. And she says later in that video, are you happy now? Are you happy? And Emmanuel's like, and like hitting the camera, as happy as he could possibly be. If you notice Ellen, now that's the better analogy to Kirsten Sinema. She just goes and does it with flair instantly, doesn't listen to anyone. Like, I don't know if she, twirled as she pecked it as Sinema did in the minimum wage vote. But anyways, so look, Taylor Blake is a really cool story. She went to go help her grandparents with the farm because they were struggling with the farm, and she moved to South Florida. with her girlfriend, by the way. And she says we live in dark times, but this is bringing a little bit of light into the world. So I like that it is. And that's absolutely true. You keep going. We appreciate it. And she's thinking of doing merch now that says, Emmanuel, don't do it. But I think that she should do the shirt that says, Emmanuel, fine, do it. That's the one I want.
I think she should sell both and just see which one sells more. After I was watching these videos, I was reminded that in Australia, have you heard of this? How they went to war with the emus after World War II? There was a proper war in Australia where a bunch of the veterans from World War II were encouraged to start farming. And they started farming in this part of Western Australia where the emus apparently migrated to, and there were 20,000 emus that were just running amok. And there were a ton of public complaints about this. They're like, they're destroying our crops, they're a nuisance, these creatures are insane. And then the defense minister, who had just gotten back from World War II, encouraged the veterans to use machine guns against the emus, to try and fight a war against the emus. And it lasted a month from November 2nd to December 10th. In 1932, and they lost. The Australians lost their war against the emus.
Oh my God, really? Yep. I never knew that. So how did they lose?
I think they just couldn't kill them. There was a really interesting quote from someone who's a bird scientist. They said the machine gunners' dreams of point blank fire into serried masses of emus were soon dissipated. The emu command had evidently ordered guerrilla tactics, and its unwieldy army soon split up into innumerable small units and made use of the military equipment uneconomic. A crestfallen field force therefore withdrew from the combat area after about a month.
That's amazing. So now that we're into Australia and amazing facts about animals in Australia, that allows me to get into this thing that I am fascinated by and never had the opportunity to talk about before on the show. It turns out the original hunter-gatherer Homo sapiens that landed in Australia, so our ancestors, killed off what's called megafauna, which are very large animals that were on the island and had lived there for probably millions of years, and we came in there and we're like, oh look, they're large and slow, we can kill them all, and we did. So there used to be 450 kilogram kangaroos, 2,000 kilogram wombats, 7-meter long lizards, 180 kilogram flightless birds, 130 kilogram marsupial lions, car-sized tortoises. And so Australia was this amazing island with giant animals all over it. And the humans came in and decimated them. They're all extinct, we killed them all. So, which goes back to don't mess with emus, because apparently that's the one thing we can't get rid of. Whether it's a farm down in South Florida or Australia, emus are large and in charge.
Yeah, they're able to get rid of everything else except for these guys. That's really interesting. I think there's another niche point that I like to make about ancient humans hunting megafauna, right? Like woolly mammoths. There's a theory that Adam Smith had, right? People talk about Adam Smith as like the father of capitalism. And there was a story about human beings hunting the woolly mammoths because they're so huge. One person could not take down a mammoth, but they all hunted together and they cooperated and they had elaborate plans to go and chase the woolly mammoths off of cliffs so they could kill them and then eat them. And way before Charles Darwin wrote about like his theory of evolution, Adam Smith wrote that he believed human beings evolved to become the dominant species on the planet because they could collaborate and work together and accomplish more than they could separately. And so them hunting megafauna is like the big example that he uses for that, because once we started, eating a lot of meat, our brains grew to be much bigger and it led to us being the dominant species. So the secret is not individualism, but people working together. I think that's beautiful.
It is, and of all people, it comes from Adam Smith. Yeah, and he was brilliant. And when I was a kid, I thought the woolly mammoths were around at the time of the dinosaurs. That's not at all true. Turns out that all these megafauna, these giant animals, roamed the earth until about 45,000 years ago, and even more recent for some of them. And that's when we killed them all, and got larger brains, and then killed more of them, and then became the very dangerous species that we are now.
Yes.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.